Good day, traders. I hope you are doing well. Yeah, it's been a while. We've been busy here lately. Yeah, so today we decided to shoot a video for you guys so that you learn one or two things from us. Yeah, so today, as you can see from the title, we're going to talk about how you can use the RSI indicator, the Relative Strength Index indicator, in your trading. Yeah, so I'll place emphasis that do not focus more or just make decisions on the indicator alone. Make sure that you have other confluences, which I'll show you in the PDF as we go by. And for the settings of the RSI, I'll put the settings in the description box below. So make sure that if you want the settings, check in the description, you're going to find them. So let's get into the video. So firstly, as you can see, this is a chart for USD CAD. This is USD CAD. So our relative strength index, as you can see, it has got levels here. There's the oversold level, buy. This is the midpoint where there's consolidation, where you can buy from, sell from, depending on which side of the trend. And it can be a take profit level. Then you have the sell, also have the overbought area. So in this case, we're going to be looking to buy when price is in these areas here, the buy area or oversold. We're going to be looking to sell in these areas where they sell and overbought here. So firstly, I'll give an example here. You can see here. You can see what happened here. And you can see here, price was really oversold. So in these are extreme points of the markets, the oversold areas. These are extreme points where markets are extremely oversold, where we have to be looking for buying opportunities. Like I said, do not use this alone. You need to use other confluence. So you have to look at what candlesticks doing. As you can see, when price was approaching in this area here, where these are the extreme areas where price was oversold, you can see that price was moving with very small candlesticks showing exhaustion. So this was going to be a nice trade because you can see that price was exhausted as it was approaching in these areas. You can see how exhausted it was, small candles, without any momentum. Then you can see price here is at the oversold, between buy and oversold area, which gives us confluence. And the confirmation was this bull candle. We're going to enter immediately upon the close of this bull candle because you can see that there was bullish momentum stepping in, and the RSI has confirmed with other confluence. So as you can see here, shows an area of demand from this side, which was drawn from a higher time frame. You can see what happened. Gold came here. Gold came here. You can see it came on this area here. You can see price came until here. You can see this noticeable rejection. For those who study week off method, you can see that this was selling climax. So selling climax, and you can see this is the area of demand on this line. Then you can also confirm with the RSI, the relative strength index. You can confirm here, down here, that is in between buy and oversold, meaning price was in the extremes. So the selling climax, there was a bull candle, then two bear candle. I'm sure these were testing supply. Then what happened next? Price short to the upside, though with difficulties, you can see, but it's short. And the relative strength index gave us here that we're in the areas of the extremes, we're oversold here. You can see another one. You can also use these RSI to spot divergences. You can see this is gold here, where price was moving nicely. It formed, let's say you can come here, formed a continuation pattern, though this is not the cleanest continuation pattern that you can see. Yeah, continuation pattern broke to the upside. Then before breaking this point here, price had created a level of demand here. It created a level of demand here, and clearly see it. Level of demand there. Then see, let me just draw it nicely. A level of demand here. You can see price continued moving upside. Price is creating higher lows and high highs, but here, down here, the RSI price is making lower highs and lower lows. There is a difference. So this should click in your mind that what is going on? If price here is moving higher, but here is moving lower, what could be the problem? And you see what happened. Price came into this area, broke this area of structure here. You can see, broke the area of structure there. This candle by closing here, you can see. So in this case, you're gonna have to be looking for areas where you are gonna short from. You have to be looking for areas where you are gonna short from, and you can clearly see here this gap. I'm 100% sure that this gap was a weekend. Yeah, I think you can see here there was a 2 days difference. It was a weekend. Yeah, I can see it gapped up, didn't even move that much, and actually in these chain candles, showing that buyers were not in control and sellers were not in control. And immediately the break of this low, you're going to enter here because the sellers are stepping in. And you can see the divergence here by confirming the divergence. And you can see what happened, price went. Because we've confirmed that these are the extremes of the markets. The market was overbought. So we look for sales. Then you can also see here, this is USD CAD. You can see price was exhausted. You can just see how price is like when it's moving, when it's in the extremes. You can see how the candlesticks are very small, showing exhaustion. You just have to look for proper entries. You can see not much momentum, low momentum candles. You can see then even here, you can also confirm with the RSI that we're in the extremes of the markets. The overbought, where you have to look for sales. You can see here, first price came to this point. It was held at this area. It was held at that area. Then it went up. And you see here, price is moving higher, but here it's moving lower. This should trigger you to think that there might be something wrong. Could have entered upon the close of this bearish candle. You could have entered here, your stop loss above, because you know that this supply, or rather this demand here, has already been removed, and you have seen that the RSI here is also communicating something else. You can see that we're in the extremes of the market. And one thing that you should observe is that here we can see that price, there isn't low momentum, but when the sellers, the participants of the markets, they start getting in, you can see that how big the candles were, meaning they're really trying to push price to the downside, because they bulls this side, they're trying to push, but they're facing out of resistance. You can see that these candles are for exhaustion. You can see here also the divergence. You can also include it in supply and demand. Yeah, so I'm saying that you can't just rely on the RSI itself. You have to include other confluences that we've already taught on this channel. Because you can see here, there was a level of supply here, though not that clean, but you can see there was a rally. Then from this point, price turned. So it was going to trigger us to think that next time price comes to this point, we can also sell at this point. So you can clearly see here. You can clearly see here when price came to this point, it held. You can also see, let's see here, it held. Also here, it held. You can also see here on the RSI, it held. You see, it held at this point here because of this point. It held. You see the RSI buy, you would have bought, but keeping in mind that this area here is a level of supply, and you can see what happened. What happened is price went up to this area of supply, and you can also confirm here on this RSI. It was at exactly at this point of sale. See, and you can see the low momentum candles forming here. Very important concepts, guys. You can also see here divergence. There's also an area of supply. Very nice here. Level of supply we've drawn. Then we've seen price coming to this point here. And price is moving higher. And here you can see price is moving lower. And upon touching the area of supply, you can see there was this type of candlestick pattern. I'm sure you know this. You could have entered maybe upon the close of this if you are that aggressive, although there are some who could have entered this point. Could have entered here because you can see here is a divergence, and this is our area of supply. Very important. You can also see here, this is a USD CHF. Yeah, this is USD CHF. You can see you can see here, this is our area of supply. Our area of supply. So we look for price to sell when price comes to this point and it's sold. This one here also is our area of supply and it's sold till there. This one also, there was area of interest here and it held. You can also see as price was going up, it was creating areas of interest. So all these areas, if you check nicely, if you check, let's assume that price was somewhere here. You wanted to buy here, you can see you would have bought here. If you have confirmed, you would have bought at this point, and you can see that price was in the extreme here. You would have bought till here, and you can see this is our area of supply. And you can confirm also here with the RSI, we're in the overbought and sell zone here in the extremes. And you can see there was also a reaction there. Price came to the downside. You can also see here when price shot up, you can see here there was also, it was at the buy level and oversold level. You can see it went up. Even there it went up. It left area of demand, and you can see price came to this area where we drew the level of supply. There is the level of supply. Price chopped, and you can see that it was in the extremes of the markets. Then it came down here to the level of demand, and you can see this is our level of demand, and you can see price was also here. It was also at our area of interest, which was at the buy level. You can see what happened, it went up just like that. Even here, could have bought at this area because it came somewhere around this area, and you can see it was near our area of interest. Very, very important and simple concepts. You can also see here, this is our USD card. Yeah, USD card, you can see this is our area of supply. Then price came to this point here, came at least 1, 2, 3. You You can see when it was making attempts to touch this area, you can see that here and there, price wasn't really at these areas of interest. Came, but it wasn't here at the sell level or the overbought area, you can see. But here, when it came to touch the third time, you can see what was happening. That's what was happening. It came near this area of sell and overbought. See, could have entered upon seeing price action. So same thing here. You can see this area, could have drawn this area because looking at how fast these candles went, would have noticed that there must be something here. You can see price dropped, closed below, and the next candle went inside the range. And like I said in the previous videos, that if this happens, just know that it was a fake out. Whereby if price breaks out with one candle, then the next candle or few candles come back in the range, then just know that it was a fake out. And you can see you could have entered, let's say, upon seeing that the candle was getting into this point here inside this range. You would have entered a buy and exited on this area of supply. And if you see here, you can also see here it was at the buy area here. Okay, it was at the buy area here. See what happened? It went up just like that. It came down again, went up. So these are very easy to trade. Yeah, you can also see here USD card again. USD card. Trying to show you as much examples as possible so that at least you have a clear understanding. You can see this is our area of demand, and here supply was created here. So when supply was created here, you could see that the sellers are stepping into the market because this area here that I've put here, that I've put a tick here, it's an area of demand, but the sellers broke this area, a break of structure. Break of structure. So a break of structure tells us that there's a possibility that these market participants who have broken this structure, they are willing to push price to the downside. Could have entered here on this retest here. You can see here, tested, came, though not that close, but you can see here. You can see here, not close to the sell point, but this point here already, let's assume that price was here. It was going to give you a clue already that price has been overbought. So in this case, price is in the extremes. Price is in the extremes. So we have to look for selling opportunities. In addition to that, you can see that price is actually breaking levels of demand, which are structural points. So for those who are aggressive, they would have entered maybe somewhere here. But again, as you can see, price would have come back to your entry. For those who are consecutive, you could have entered on the retest of this supply which has been created. Your take profit target was going to be this level of demand here. You can see when price came to this demand area, you can clearly see that it was in the area of interest, the buy and oversold area here. Would have taken the trades. Yeah, so it's that easy. It's that easy. Then even here, you can see price was rejected at that area. Price was rejected in this area. A nice rejection, which was like buying climax here. And you can see in this area again, we're in the sell and overbought area in the extremes of the market. You can see here, structure held. But as you can see, we had a problem to get back to this point here. There's a lot of low momentum candles you can see here. Until we came to this point here, we came back to test this area here, where price was rejected. And if you see what happened, rejected first, then tried to push, nothing until this engulfing candle. We would have entered maybe on the close of this candle. and maybe your potential profit targets are going to be this area here. And you can see here at this point where you would have sold, you can also see here that the RSI was also confirming with our sell entry. So it's very important. You can also see here a level of supply was created, and there was a breakout structure which makes it very valid for you to enter a trade when price comes to this point. And you can see when price came to this point here, it sold. And if you see the RSI, it also confirms is at the selling point. You can also see here a level of supply was created. We have to sell when price comes to this point. And you can see when price came to that point, it sold. And if you see the RSI, we're at the selling point. Very important. You can also see this one here, USD card. An area of resistance was created here. And there was a breakout structure showing that the sellers were willing to push price to the downside. So if price comes to this point here, this is more like a retest. And you can see what happened. Price sold when it came to this point. And you can see here, price was conforming with the RSI that were in the extremes. And it sold. So this is very important. Make sure that you try to implement it in your trading, and I'll place emphasis. Don't just rely on the RSI. The same way I've explained to you that you use the chart and also use this for confirmation. That's how you're supposed to do it, not just going on the chart, then you look on the RSI that whether it's bought or whether it's overbought or oversold, then you just go there. No, don't do that. Make sure that you incorporate all the strategies that I've taught on this channel with this. You're going to get something out of it other than you just going on the RSI. Because I've seen a lot of people where if you teach them how to use indicators, they stop focusing on the price or the chart. They'll start going straight on the indicator. Then if it doesn't work, no, this thing is not working. No, you have to use your eyes and common sense to actually implement these things. So make sure, guys, to check the description if you want the settings for these things, and like this video, subscribe to our channel if you're a new subscriber. For those who are returning subscribers, thank you so much for the support. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend, guys. Take care.